Hello and welcome to Bloomberg Women Mean Business. I'm Fatima Karan. Today we're speaking to superstars in the e-commerce space. These young women have each taken a passion and an idea and turned it into a viable business in an era of stiff competition and sharp technology. Their businesses as well as interests give them the vantage point to not only tell us what is moving in their particular space of e-commerce, but they also give us their insights on the new age shopper, many of whom happen to be female. And joining me on the show today, Radhika Agarwal, she's from Shopclues, Anisha Singh, Maidala, of course, Tanvi Malik, Fab Ali. I'm not even going to get into their particular designations, but these are true leaders and true women of impact. Ladies, thank you so much for coming on to Bloomberg Women Mean Business. This, as you know, is a great platform for all of us to really chat about what's happening in our particular spaces. Anisha, I'm going to come to you first. If I was to ask you where we are in terms of the cycle of business that you're particularly focused on, how would you describe this particular period of time?
You know, when you started, the online travel industry was the only industry that actually matured in the early 2000s. And so when you saw that there was, you know, there was a huge peak of .coms that came through, and then there were some leaders that emerged in the online world, like the Make My Trips and the Clear Trips of the world. I think we're seeing that now happen with a lot of other .coms, including Maidala. There was, at one point, we had 52 competitors, you know, and I think we track now about 3. So, you know, you can see that we've obviously gone through the hump, and you see the same thing happening in e-commerce and several other places.
So initially there was a rash of competitors, and then you boiled down to, and obviously we're going to get into the fundamentals of what makes you stick. I'm going to bring that same question to you, Tanvi, and I've kept it broad, and I'm also going to be asking Radhika that. Where are you in the cycle of business at this stage?
So for us, Fab Ali is fashion for women. And right now, in 2016, women are going to be contributing to 35% of all online purchases. So this sector is, women shoppers are growing. The online fashion sector is growing tremendously. It's supposed to be about 3 billion in 2016. So we feel that we're at the right place. And what Fab Ali really, you know, has nailed is the product market mix. So we're affordably priced, trendy products at good, sweet prices, and that's something that's really working out for us. And as far as where the industry is right now, I think globally there are a lot of competitors coming in, but we're poised to.
You're poised to.
Yeah.
Radhika, I'd like to come to you on this. You've heard what my 2 in-studio guests have talked about, and there's a reason I've specifically asked about where we are in the cycle right now. Any insights you'd like to share with us in terms of what you've been seeing happening around Shopclues at this stage?
Fatima, firstly, a pleasure to be here, and Anisha and Tanvi, very nice to meet you remotely, though. I have to say that the last couple of years have been a very, very exciting space for the consumer internet space in India. At Shopclues, we believe that e-commerce in any country has to resemble the offline retail as well. And when we started in 2011, most of the players at that time resembled malls more than the mom and pop stores and the local bazaars where most of India shops. So we positioned ourselves as a mass marketplace. So we're an online retailer that's focused on the mass market consumer. And how do you really cater to those? And we've done that by bringing more and more small and medium enterprises online. So where we are today, Fatima, is that we have 200,000 merchants that sell on the platform. We have over 15 million registered consumers and a selection of about 2.5 million products that we offer to our consumers. And the numbers, though they sound big, I can promise you we've not even scratched the surfaces yet. Indian e-commerce is going to be commerce in India. Retail is very different in India as compared to the US, and the game is just beginning.
The game is just beginning. In fact, Radhika, I'm going to stay with you for a minute because I'm quoting back to an article I read back in January when you'd raised 100 million from Tiger Global, and one of the praises that was sort of one of your USPs was how you guys have managed to penetrate the market within India's tier 2, tier 3 cities. And I get the feeling this is what you're talking about as well. So just tell me a little bit about those findings that you found, you know, within transacting business, putting those merchants on it. What have you seen so far?
You know, most of our competitors or the larger players entered the industry, Fatima, with structured categories. And by structured categories, I'm talking about, I mean, categories such as mobiles, televisions, categories that have distinct brand players, that are easy to bring online, have very distinct features on them. We took the opposite route because we came in with a lot of unstructured categories. By those, I mean fashion. And fashion in India is very different from fashion in any of the other countries. About 10 to 15% of it is branded. Rest of it is all about local and regional brands. And how do you really bring the consumers from tier 2 and tier 3 cities online? You bring them by offering them a selection that they can relate to. And how do you offer them a selection that they can relate to? By bringing in the merchants who are selling to them in the offline space in those very cities. And that's the virtuous cycle that we've tried to build to resolve this problem.
That's a very interesting insight. Tanvi, I want you to come in on that because your particular offering has a lot of curation in it as well. And there's a certain kind of consumer you have in mind. So when you look at a Radhika who's talking about sort of going the opposite way to a trend, trying to do things differently, what are your thoughts on that?
So for Fab Alley, I mean, yeah, we have a very urban, metro-dwelling consumer in mind when we curate and create fashion offerings for her. So our customer is a typical 20-something Bombay Delhi girl. But what's really worked out for us is that that girl is no longer dwelling in Bombay and Delhi. So a tier 1 and tier 2 success story is really building out for us. We always thought that, we are edgy and, we're on the front end of like fashion and everything. So maybe that's not going to be, maybe we'll be a little niche. But it's really not the case, and I think that's something that's really helped us. That's
really helped you out. I'm going to ask my guests to hold that thought because we're taking a very short break right here on Bloomberg Women Mean Business. We're back in a few minutes. Welcome back to Bloomberg Women Mean Business. Anisha, My Dala has ventured into different sort of streams here. We're looking at a very diverse platform. So again, I'm trying to get an idea as to sort of what you've really found since the business has been incubated and the growth cycles. Reaching out and diversification, what are your experiences there?
We started in 2009, so in terms of .coms, we're one of the oldest ones in the new wave.
Right.
And our business is slightly different because we connect offline to online. So we take the retailers, literally bring them online, but the audiences push back offline, right? You go and experience an affinity salon or you go to wherever you want to in terms of merchants. You don't actually, experience it online. So we're not selling products. What is interesting to see is the patterns and how they've changed over time. At one point, when we sold 1,000 vouchers daily or coupons daily, there'd be celebrations. We do 220,000 vouchers daily.
What?
It's insane.
220,000? But listen, that's
7 million vouchers on a monthly basis.
Wow.
Out of that, 50% come out of non-tier 1 cities. And this 90% of our transactions are pure mobile based. So we've seen the evolution, and it's more so on the we went on mobile in 2011. The minute we did that, it was like mobile's now become the buzzword, but in 2011 it opened up a whole new ballgame for us. We were just we saw people logging in from cities that Surat, Gwalior, Erode. These are my big cities, Bhubaneswar. They buy, and merchants have a real need to market themselves. So we are essentially a local marketing platform for all these merchants.
So you talked about 2011 was when you went on mobile, right? And how there were these surprise findings about who the customers are. How did that decision to crack that next horizon come about?
We actually saw, so ours, because you're literally walking to the store and getting a coupon to save. We saw a lot of users logging on from, to our desktop site from their mobile. And we said, ours is very instantaneous. It's unlike an e-commerce where you order online and you kind of wait for your product. If we weren't literally there, we would lose our users. And so essentially 2011, and not only that, we integrated mobile billing, so you pay via Vodafone, Airtel, whatever. And what this did for us is it opened up the female category as well. Suddenly, females were okay paying via mobile, via their Airtel or Vodafone bill. They were not okay with the whole credit card aspect in 2011. Now, you know, I mean, obviously we've evolved and we're seeing a lot of people now transact with credit cards, but it just
because there's a whole series of complications that are involved in getting a credit card, aren't they? I mean, interesting what you're saying.
You know, there are only 35 million credit card users in India. Yes, debit card is a lot higher, but a lot of these people don't use that online. So there is this stat which is slightly skewed. Cash on delivery still rules for a lot of people.
And that's also been a game changer. Radhika, I just want to come to you because technology, of course, is something that is very, very important to all of us here. Right? And we're talking about how that is delivering new ways of consumer behaviors. Give me a sense as to the kind of core areas of investment when it comes to technology. I mean, what is the serious tech stuff that is that goes behind Shopclues being the success that it is?
So, Fatima, for us, you know, we've always been very clear about the fact that we're really a technology company that happens to be in the space of online retail. And for us, our whole base is technology. The way we differentiate ourselves is that we have a very merchant first approach. So for us, we are all about building a platform, a technology platform, an e-commerce platform in the cloud for the merchants. So we want to give them more and more products that they can use to digitize their business. It is about bringing consumers and merchants together on the same platform, but very, very merchant focused. And for us, you know, we have built out a whole slew of tech products that have helped them do this. We'll be venturing very soon in payments. You'll be seeing us create a lot of neighborhood markets. Anisha talked about that briefly, you know, instant gratification. And for us, it's simpler to do instant gratification in the product business because the merchant and the consumer are within a 5-mile radius. The more merchants you have, it's easier for the consumers to get instant gratification. So that is where our next tech push is going to be. And I do want to take another quick 2 minutes to kind of add to what Anisha said earlier. Mobile and how that has changed lives for all of us in a very significant way is that mobile is a very personal device. Till now, till 2011, 2012, when you wanted to access the internet, you were typically using a family device. You were using the family computer and you had to make sure that there was Wi-Fi around. But mobile has changed that completely. And similar to what Anisha said, we are seeing a very massive trend of more and more women coming online as well. And these are women who are coming online from tier 2, tier 3 cities, average age of between 30 to 35. This is a segment that was not online before, I would say 2 years earlier or so.
When I ask about technology, I'm asking also about your struggles with technology as well. Because one thing is having a fantastic product. But you're also depending on other challenges, right? True. So are there those challenges? I mean, it may sound like a really stupid question, but connectivity, is that a problem at all? Or do you not sense any kind of dip in terms of what you keep hearing about in the news with, oh God, these drops and low signal? We're wondering about all these platforms that are rolling out on a tech front.
Right. So of course these are problems and they're very real problems, which is why, like, you know, for a product oriented site like Fab Alley, we have to be really, really fast. We have to be like, say, we have to load in like less than 2 seconds because the speeds, the internet, the connectivity here is so poor that we have to ensure that everything on our side, our servers are at the, you know, at their fastest and everything. But also tech for Fab Alley is a lot about content and curation because everybody is all about show me more, and so we believe that show me more but show me relevant. So that's why, you know, we keep like working on like segmentation and further segmentation. So it's not just about I want a dress, it's about I want an evening dress which is an LBD, which has, say, short sleeves and which is like, you know, knee length. Like that's the level of detail that we go into, and we are planning to delve into it further. And that's how we want to reach out to our consumers, because we don't want to just throw things at them. We want them to be able to find what they want.
You need to identify a brand.
Absolutely.
Right? Identify a certain resonance, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask my guests to hold on to their thoughts for a minute. We're coming back in just a few moments. Welcome back to Bloomberg Women Mean Business. Anisha, I'm going to come to you on the fundraising, because everybody's had different fundraising experiences here. you're still looking for, I think everybody's always looking for more funding. I mean, it's not a particular point in your
Lakshmi,
business.
man.
Right? Yeah.
It's Lakshmi. Somebody asked me the other day, I said, you don't say no to Lakshmi.
So how has that process been in the last couple of years? And have you found there to be certain cycles that have been much more friendly in terms of really of funds coming in versus others?
I want to add to the technology
go
part
ahead,
first. So first, in terms of tech, I think right now, if you're in the online or mobile space, tech holds key because we're moving at such a fast rate, right? You're innovating at such a fast speed that if you're not doing that, you're left behind. So that is the most key element for every company at this particular point in time. And we need to recognize that. But I think a lot of challenge also comes in terms of resources, and human resources. You'll see that in the tech especially. Oddly enough, we're a young country, but I think we're all struggling with that because there's been a sudden boom of .com and sudden, tech infrastructure as well as human resource is.
But I think human resource is a very tough challenge. In fact, Radhika, what has been your experience with that as well?
It's a very big challenge. So I have to say that and I probably did not answer that question correctly when you talked about tech challenges. And I'll take tech challenges and human resources together. When I spent most of my career in the US. When we moved back, we were expecting the infrastructure challenges. But then e-commerce is such a new industry that finding relevant talent has always been a challenge. And for us, the way we've tried to resolve that, Fatima, is that we hire extensively out of MBA schools, out of engineering schools, and we believe that we want to develop those people in-house. They have to learn the Shopclues culture. They don't come with any baggage, and it works out far better for us. So the average age in the company is about 24, 25, and average age in the leadership, though I have to kind of admit over here, and a little embarrassed here, but regardless, that I skew the age, but even the average age of the leadership is about 32, 33. And these are people who've probably been at Shopclues already since inception. So it's possible to solve the human resource. I won't say there's a dearth of talent. There's probably a dearth of relevant talent, but it can definitely be groomed.
And is that what you're also trying to say?
Absolutely. I mean, the stats Radhika is saying hold, I think, true across sector. The average age is 24, and senior management. I'm probably the most senior. Well, actually, a couple more people, but we're
just going to
senior management. We're senior, literally senior management.
Right.
And these people have been around forever with us. So it's interesting to see the real shift. In terms of, and there is, in terms of talented resources.
So, how do you find, I mean, are there a lot of women who work in your business with you?
For us, absolutely. A lot of, in fact, like 60% of our employees are women because it's fashion, because it's women's fashion. So except for the tech aspects, and I'm really sorry to say that, but it's true that most of the tech, like all of our tech team, they're all men because they're the ones who, relevant qualifications and everything. But that's the way
it's been. Radhika, has that been your experience as well? I'm just very curious to know. We're talking about young talent that can be nurtured as well. Are a lot of females joining in on the sort of hard tech side of things? I'm just trying to get an idea as to what's going on there on the floor.
So we have about 120 strong engineering group, and out of that about 25 are women. So we make an effort to go out there and find the women, groom them. We're teaching over here, right? In a lot of ways, I feel that we're also a school. We're a training ground for new talent. Whether the talent is coming out of, a bachelor's degree from an engineering school or a master's degree, we're very open, and we make an effort to hire women as well. And it has worked out very well for us because leadership talent, and no offense to men, but leadership talent in women is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is actually, and and I agree with you. One of the key challenges I discussed with women on Bloomberg Women Business is that a lot of women seem to be okay with entering the workforce, right? People get their degrees, they go right into it, but they don't stay in the workforce.
There's actually a stat. It is the highest in South Asia.
Yeah.
There's about a 75% drop-off rate after you have kids. So You and me are like exceptions to
Yeah,
this.
but see, you're a business owner. I mean, as we're the veterans, right? At this stage, as you just put it. But I'm saying
we
is,
keep dating ourselves.
as women, and this is not about a work-life balance, blah, blah. You know, you're looking at hardcore statistics.
Yeah.
We've all talked about the benefits of diversity. Are there any ways you're trying to perhaps incorporate a way of retaining female talent in your company?
You know, it's the same. We've actively gone out, and so our tech team now is not 100%. It's actually moved to 30% females, tech and analytics, and the rest males. So we've actively gone out and done that, and everybody's too young, but we've done liberal policies around maternity leave, work from home, and also leaving early for women, which is not very looked very fondly on by the male crew. But there are certain things. This is Delhi at the end of the day, and you've got to roll with the challenges that you have.
Tanu, you want to come in on that?
So yeah, I absolutely agree. Again, we have a very young team, which is mostly women, except for the tech side of it. So, but we do have flexi hours, we have work from home, we have liberal maternity leave, for when that time comes, because our team is like really, really young right now. So I think that just making that little bit of a commitment to your employees that, we are going to be there for you, and you don't need to be quitting because you're having babies or because you're moving into any next phase of your life, is the best that we can do at Fab Alley right now, and that's what we're doing.
One thing that we do, which I think is really key for everybody to do, we do an all-women's happy hour once a month at the roof deck, and I make the cocktails, and we just sit and chat like women and bond. And I think it's really important.
Can we
to
please
do that
on Bloomberg Women Mean Business? Why did I come to you on that? Okay, that's amazing. Radhika, any thoughts you have on this, which is about retention of talent in sometimes professions even that are heavily male dominated as well?
Fatima, I think everything that we've talked about so far is table stakes. Maternity leaves, flexi timing, work from home, the ability to create your own hours, to retain a good talent. I think it's table stakes. What we really need to do is give the same kind of benefits to both men and women. And that means that even if the men need to take paternity leave, we make sure that they have the ability to do that as well. And then what lands up happening, and we saw that as well, one of the issues that we had was that the women would leave earlier and the men had to stay later, and there's a certain amount of, anger that kind of creeps in.
Resentment.
Over there. How we've tried to resolve that is that, provide safety. Make sure that the women get home on time. If you have to stay late, you stay late. It's your job. But we'll make sure that you get home and there is complete safety around that. If the men have to leave early, they leave early. You have to pick up your kid, you pick up your kids there. So there is parity that's being brought about, and that creates, there's no dissonance between the men and the women there, and there's complete flat playing ground. What we don't have is the happy hour that Anisha talks about.
I think all of us, I'm taking furious notes on that. Okay, ladies, we're completely out of time. A key question I have, and a very short answer, please, to that is, if you have a great idea, does it make a difference if you're a man or a woman?
No.
A great business idea, basically. Does it make any difference if you're a man or a woman?
No, apart from the self-doubt that women hold, and that's an internal thing.
Yeah.
I think women in general are tougher on themselves. But no, absolutely not.
I absolutely agree with her. No, I think an idea is on its own weight. Whether you're a man or a woman, you should just go and do it if it's wrong enough.
Radhika, want to come in on that, please?
No, it does not make any difference whether you're a man or a woman. But the benefit of being a woman is that investors especially, are more likely to remember you than all the 100 other men.
That's a great answer, actually. And I think women also have a certain ability to connect with others in terms of communication as well. Ladies, I can't tell you that I'm done with my timing on the show, but it was a pleasure having all three of you right here on Bloomberg Women Mean Business. Programming continues.